This is the Marshall Blues Breaker. Originally released in 1991, this pedal sought to recreate the sound of the now iconic 1961 and 1962 guitar amplifiers made by Jim Marshall, and made famous by this guy. This is one of the most important overdrives ever created because even if you haven't played this before, you probably have. You see, this overdrive really inspired and gave way to a whole slew of boutique and sought-after and sometimes very expensive overdrives that we all know and love today. The story of the Marshall Blues Breaker starts all the way back in 1965, when a famous guitar player was about to become a very famous guitar player. So the story goes that Eric Clapton walked into Jim Marshall's London shop and said, "I need a combo amp that will fit in the boot of my car." For those of us still inhabiting the colonies, boot is British for trunk. Mr. Marshall obliged and gave Eric Clapton the model 1961, which was something like a JTM 45 combo with four 10-inch speakers. He soon replaced that with a 212 combo, called the model 1962. Presumably, Eric Clapton placed his new amplifier in the boot of his car, along with a 1960 Gibson Les Paul and a Dallas Rangemaster treble booster. He rejoined John Mayall and the Blues Breakers and recorded the now famous record, Blues Breakers with Eric Clapton. So the legend goes, Eric walked in, told the sound engineer to put the mics on the other side of the room because he was going to turn the amp very loud. And loud it was. Clapton's sound became so iconic that amplifier became known as the Blues Breaker, and it's been marketed by Marshall as such for the past 50 years. Okay, so let's fast forward to the year 1991. Blues is going through something of a resurgence, mostly thanks to this guy. And somebody at Marshall thinks, I got an idea. Let's make a pedal that sounds like the Blues Breaker. It was a good idea. But not everybody really got it. You see, other pedals of the time had just a ton more gain. But the Blues Breaker sound wasn't really about a lot of gain. It was kind of about harmonics and feel and sort of the breakup you get by turning an amp on 10. When sales were slow, Marshall went back to the drawing board and brought out a version 2. Now, this version 2 was not to be confused with the Blues Breaker 2. That's a totally different pedal. Version 2 was the same pedal, same looks, it just had more gain. These later examples are slightly less sought after today than the originals. The Marshall Blues Breaker may best be thought of as a grandfather pedal. It's made way for a lot of popular overdrives that populate boards today, like the JHS Morning Glory, or the Analog Man King of Tone, the Analog Man Prince of Tone, or the Snouse Black Box. Marshall did eventually release a Blues Breaker 2, and Moore released the Blues Crab, which is the cheapest Blues Breaker copy on the market today. Recently, the Blues Breaker kind of jumped back into pedal popularity when John Mayer was seen with one on his board. The internet, to say the least, went crazy, and so did Blues Breaker prices. So how does the original Marshall Blues Breaker stack up to some of the modern overdrives it inspired? Well, we got a couple together, and we did a very unscientific test. A lot of these circuits have changed a lot. They're not clones of the Blues Breaker, so you can't really make these pedals all sound alike, but we can certainly appreciate the differences. Enjoy! terms of tone and feel, I think the Marshall Bluesbreaker wins. It feels like a special pedal, and when you play it, it's no wonder that it's inspired a generation of overdrives. The gain is basically clean all the way up until 5 when it gives its first hints of dirt. After that, even on 10, it doesn't give up too much. It really does capture the sound and feel of a low wattage combo amp turned up to 10. If you're looking for something bright and chimey, kind of clean sounding but can do the overdriven edge of breakup thing, I'd recommend the Morning Glory. It's no wonder the praise and worship guys go crazy for that pedal. It's really pleasing in the high end. Really beautiful stuff from JHS. My absolute favorite pedal, though, of the bunch has to be the King of Tone. I just think you can do everything with the King of Tone, between the boost mode, the OD mode, the distortion mode. We didn't get all into that in this video, but absolutely killer pedal. Same thing goes for the Prince of Tone. Slightly different EQs on those two pedals, but basically the same box on the inside, just made in different places. If you're looking for the sound of the original Marshall Bluesbreaker, but don't want to pay original Marshall Bluesbreaker prices, I would recommend the Blues Crap for like $40. It's a pretty killer pedal for what it is. If you're looking for a higher quality clone, I would say the original Snouse Black Box, which we did not include in this video. My apologies for that. Speaking of the Black Box 2 is basically this Bluesbreaker circuit, but it adds a presence control, which is a nice touch, and you can control a clean boost that basically sits before the overdrive. My name is HW, and you've been watching Tone Junkie TV. Please subscribe.